there, WVA students. I am Mr. Pilcher, and I am your facilitator for chemistry or honors chemistry in the second semester, okay? So what I'm going to do in this video here today is I'm going to welcome the new WVA students who were in blended last semester and have switched over to WVA. And I'm also going to go over a handful of things that old students will need to know as well to make sure we're all on the same page, okay? So I'm going to start here. This is the Apex page. If you're new to WVA, you should have watched an orientation video on Apex already. That was sent to you by the district, I believe. Hey, there's the bell. Class just started. Nice. So right here, I'm sitting at the chemistry homepage. So you'll notice that there are 10 units. Now, if you are an old WVA student, like you had me last semester for WVA, you should have already done units 1 through 4. Okay, so you should have already done units 1 through 4. And this semester, you should be ready to start on unit 5. Some of you guys are a little bit behind, and you need to make sure you finish up units 1 through 4 and get to unit 5 as quickly as possible. Now, for you folks who are new to WVA, you do not need to worry about units 1 through 4 at all. You did those units during blended learning. Okay, so if you had Dr. Yates, Ms. Bay, or myself for blended learning, you've already completed units 1 through 4, so you don't need to worry about those. But if you're an old student, you do need to make sure you take care of those. Now, regardless if you're an old or new WVA student, you need to complete units 5 through 10 by the end of the second semester. Okay, so units 5 through 10. Now, you'll notice there's a little bit more work in the second semester than there is in the first semester, and there are a few reasons for that. Firstly, the second semester is several weeks longer than the first semester, so you actually have a lot more time to knock those out. Another reason for this is because at the beginning of the school year, we were all getting used to different types of remote learning through Google Meets, through Apex, through Blended, all this stuff. And now that we're a little bit more used to how things are going to work, there's a little bit less of a learning curve, and people are able to sort of get started in the semester a little earlier. And lastly, Unit 10, calling it a unit is pretty generous. It's actually really short. There's no CST or TST. Those are the big tests at the end of units for you new students. There's just a few quizzes, and that's it. So it's 6 units technically, but Unit 10, it's barely a unit, if that kind of makes sense. There are a few things you need to turn in, but it's certainly not as long as some of the other units. So that's why you have 6 units in the second semester and you only had 4 in the first semester. The amount of work that you'll actually have to do in the second semester is about the same as the first semester, especially with those extra weeks of time. You shouldn't really have to do any more any given day than you did the first semester. So that's that. Everyone needs to be done with Unit 10, Energy and Organic Models, by the end of the semester. Now, let's talk about how turning things in will go, okay? So most of your assignments, you will just simply take and submit through Apex, no problems there. But there are a few assignments in any given unit that you'll actually have to turn in on Schoology, okay? So here's what a typical Schoology page for me looks like. So if I go ahead, I'll just grab the Honors Chemistry one. Again, the Chemistry and Honors Chemistry pages, some of the assignments are a little bit different, but the pages should look exactly the same. So if you get to the home page, here you have some class Google Slides on class information, just general introductory stuff. Here you'll have the syllabus and a pacing guide that kind of helps you. Make sure you're on pace, on track to finish that Unit 10 by the end of the semester. And here's where you'll spend most of your time. It says unit folders. Let me blow this up a little bit, make it a little easier to see. A unit folder, so if you click in here, you'll see all the different units show up, okay? So units 1 through 4, you probably have already finished. I'll go ahead and click in Unit 5 since that's where most of you guys will be starting here. So if I click in here, you'll always see the same 3 folders: study guides, written assignments, and the TST. TST stands for Teacher Scored Test, by the way. And I'll get to that a little bit more in a minute. So the study guides folder, notice I wrote in all caps the word optional. You do not have to turn in anything in the study guide folder. These are just study guides that you can use to help supplement your learning. Okay, so here's the 5.1.1 study guide. Now this is from Apex. If I go back to Apex for a second, I go to Unit 5. One of the first things you'll get to is a study guide. So here's a 5.1.1 study guide. So if you were to open this on Apex, you'd see this. Here's a little study guide. But you don't really have a good way of filling this out. So on Schoology, if you click here, you'll find that if you can open this right here. And the moment you do, when you as a student open this, your name will automatically appear up here, Billy with 3 L's, something like that. And you'll have your own study guide that you can then fill out. It'll have these boxes where you can sort of type answers, that kind of thing. Again, it's a little small. See if I can blow this up for you. Zoom in a bit here. There we go. And so all my assignments you have to turn in, you'll always have like boxes here where your blue text will go in here. You never have to fill out a study guide unless you've had you've struggled passing a quiz a couple of times maybe. At that point, I may ask you to fill out the study guide first before I unlock your quiz for you. But that's about the only time where you'd ever be required to do a study guide. Okay, so going back to the Unit 5 folder, so study guides, that's optional. You may not really open that folder that much, but it's there if you need it. Now, written assignments, and I put in here a little dash, graded. So this is where you're actually going to be turning things in for a grade. So you will have to turn in everything that's in this folder. So in Unit 5, there's only going to be 2 assignments. There's the honors. For honors chemistry folks, they're going to have a gizmo. Regular chemistry folks, you will not have that gizmo. So you can go ahead and ignore that. And then there's also a lab. Okay. So for any given assignment, if you click in here, again, you'll click on the Google Doc. So I made a Google Doc for you. You don't have to make that at all. Your name will appear in here, and here you can just type in your answers. They show up as blue. That way it makes it easy for me to see what I need to grade for you. And so this system where the Google Doc is already created for you, it's on Schoology, this does a lot of things. First of all, it really prevents any of your assignments from ever getting lost. So you should never email me an assignment or take pictures of an assignment unless I specifically ask you for that kind of thing, because we don't want it to get lost in the fray. And I don't want you to have to go through all the work of having to like write out your own assignment. I want you to be able to have the assignment made for you, and then you can just fill in your part where you're typing in your answers and you're giving your responses, that kind of thing. This will also allow me to grade things a lot faster, so you can get that quick, immediate feedback that's most helpful for learning in Schoology. So lots of times I'll put comments like, hey, great work here, or
Jessica Jursic, please
here goes Miss Marietta. So I can give you that good feedback on assignments. And so maybe I'll be like, hey, great work on number 1. Number 2, I think you're a little off here. Maybe consider this, that kind of thing. And it just makes a much more fluid system that it will be a lot less of a headache for you. So that's where written assignments will go. And the last thing you'll do, so here in Unit 5, it says there's a TST. Again, that stands for Teacher Scored Test. For you new students, at the end of every unit, there are 2 tests, the CST and the TST. You have to take the TST, the Teacher Scored Test, on Schoology first. You have to take the TST, the Teacher Scored Test, on Schoology first. So you'll come here. Here's where the TST will be. You'll click on here. You'll take that test. Now, what you need to do, every time you take a TST, you need to shoot me an email. Here's why. The CST is always locked. It's usually the only assignment in any given unit that's locked that I personally have to unlock for you. Now, one error that a lot of students will make is they'll email me like, hey, Mr. Pilcher, can you unlock the Unit 5 CST? Now, the email you'll get from me every single time to that will be, hey, Billy, have you taken the TST on Schoology first or already, question mark. That test has to be taken first, and it can be on Schoology. The TST is never locked, by the way, so you can take it whenever you want. So whenever you take the TST, email me and be like, hey, Mr. Pilcher, I already took the Unit 5 TST. Will you please unlock the Unit 5 CST? So make sure you tell me you already took the TST when you ask me to unlock a CST. Otherwise, I will respond not by unlocking your test, but by asking you if you've taken the TST yet. So make sure you do that, because that way you'll save yourself some time. And, oh, one more thing I forgot to mention, office hours. So my office hours are earlier in the day. If you ever forget when they are, you can go ahead and click on the syllabus right here. It'll tell you office hours. It says right here, are during first period every day, Monday through Friday, 7:25 to 8:06. You go to Google, you go to meet.google.com, use the code PilcherKim. That's my last name with Kim at the end. Now, I'm not always just sitting there, so you need to email me and tell me you're coming to office hours. Okay, so you need to make that appointment. But if you ever ask me to come to office hours during the first period, the answer will always be yes. Okay, but I just need to know that you're coming, so that way I'll have the Google Meet open for you. Okay, so make sure to utilize those office hours, especially for you new students. If you have any questions, you're like, oh, I'm not really sure how this works with Apex, or I'm a little confused on your Schoology page. Please feel free to email me, set up an office hours meeting, whatever you need for me to help you get cooking, okay? All right, folks, you have a good one and good luck this semester.